So, Internet, today in Bad Policing, we have a Gilbert police officer who has been convicted of firing shots in an off-duty confrontation. So, Kevin Patrick Green in 2020 had an altercation with a man named Tom Crivelli, who was a bow hunter, and Tom Crivelli was allowed to legally hunt deer on public property with his bow and arrow, but Kevin Green didn't like that and thought that Tom Crivelli was a thief. And so they got into a physical altercation, and Kevin Green decided to bring a gun into the equation. And we're going to get more into the story because it's quite precious. It involves a lot of lying, a lot of deception, and just flat out swinery. Just swine behavior from a freaking cop, which is what we've come to expect. But let's get more into the story here. So Kevin Green was drinking prior to his confrontation with Tom Crivelli, and he decided to go and approach this man, and the firearm just went off because Kevin Green wanted to scare this guy off, and it was deemed reckless discharge of a firearm. And because of this conviction, now Kevin Green can no longer serve as a police officer or a peace officer in the state of Minnesota. So during interviews with the sheriff's office there, Green said that he thought Crivelli had a history with being a burglar, but he also said that he initially unholstered his off-duty firearm and intentionally popped one into the ground. But during a later interview, he indicated he wasn't sure if the discharge was intentional or accidental. So he was changing his story, and initially he said that he fired off a round to basically say, "Hey, I got a gun, back off." That was his response to going up and physically assaulting someone, them fighting back, and then him firing a gun, because he's a punk who can't fight. He brought a gun to a fist fight. In fact, you even got a quote here from Tom Crivelli. He says he got right next to my face and grabbed my throat. Then I kicked him as hard as I could. I kicked him in the leg and he went flying back. I took a swing at him and missed, and he came at me again, so I pulled his shirt over his head. I said, now you're fucked. You're going for an ambulance ride. And that's when he pulled out the pistol and shot it into the ground. Crivelli left the area and called 911 while Green placed his own call to complain about an unwanted person at the address. So he tried to use the police against this man because he lost a physical fight. And then even before that, he brought a gun into the equation. That shows you how tough he actually is, man. Typical behavior from a freaking police officer, man.